Welcome back, everybody. It's been a while, but here I am, starting a brand new read a book every single day of a month challenge. For those of you who've never followed along before, this is where I challenge myself to read a book every single day of a month. Last year, I did it in February, and in 28 days, I read 51 books. This year, I've chosen to do the challenge in October, so we have a theme, we have an aesthetic to the books I'm going to try and read over the next, 30 days now. I'm going to be quite strict with myself and only read one book every day. Normally, I start picking up momentum and go a little bit crazy. But this year, I am determined to read 31 books in October. So let's get started and discuss book number 1, Lyla Sage's Soul Searching. Now, I have to say, we've started with quite the bang. This book is amazing. I grabbed my copy from the works, so it has these lovely sprayed edges that match the cover text. And I did have a planned structure for videos like this where I would list out the positives, the negatives, and then just ramble through my thoughts on the book in general. But the problem I've already encountered is that there is not a single thing in this book I did not like. This book is transcendent. It is truly phenomenal. Now, I'm not going to lie, I've always felt a little bit bad for Lyla Sage, just because her first series of books came out after Elsie Silver's Chestnut Springs had really done the rounds here in the UK. And so Lyla has always been directly compared to Elsie. And I'll admit, I myself did that. But I am now delighted to state, with my entire chest, Elsie Silver could have never written this. This is, it's going up high on some of my favourite romance book lists ever, because this book I truly do think is transcendent. It is a small town romance, but it's also not. It's a paranormal romance, but I also don't feel right judging it against other paranormal romances because it's almost like paranormal but magical realism. I just think the themes were fantastic, the setting fantastic, the characters fantastic. This new series, Sweetwater Peak, I am going to devour. Before I tell you what the book's about, I'm going to come out and say I think Lyla Sage is like Elsie Silver in the fact that Elsie Silver's second book series, Chestnut Springs, is one of the greatest series of all time, right? If you're asking me about cowboy romances, I am going to recommend Elsie Silver's Chestnut Springs. I think they are the gold standard that everything else ends up getting measured against. But Gold Rush Ranch by Elsie Silver came out first. That was her first series, then Chestnut Springs. They're interconnected. Her biggest, most famous, definitive series is her second one. And I'm calling it now. Lyla Sage is exactly the same way. Did I like her first series? Yes. I think I am going to love this series. If the other Sweetwater Peak books are as good as this one, they may be my favourite series of all time. And also, this is a tiny bit of a spoiler, but much like the Elsie Silververse, the Lyla Sageverse is interconnected, and I love that. I did not call the connection at all until the FaceTime scene in this book, and then I will admit I was truly gagged. I just blitzed past the signalling for it, and I loved that. It was a brilliant surprise. Lyla Sage managed to interconnect these book series in a way that I wasn't expecting, and I absolutely loved. Now, I'll admit my reading experience when I'm doing this challenge isn't going to be like most people's, okay, because I am reading these books at breakneck speed, which I'm not going to lie, it is my favourite way to read books. I've not got enough time, really, to dwell on too many negatives. I'm there for a good time, not a long time. But on proper, thorough reflection, there isn't a single beat in this book, a single character, a single thread that I didn't adore. This book follows Collins, who is a very successful photographer, as she returns home to the town of Sweetwater Peak. And the incredibly special thing about Collins and her twin sister Clark is that they can see and communicate with ghosts. You might think, hey, yeah, big paranormal romance, obvi. No, not quite. It's a lot more grounded than that. I really like what Lyla does with the ghosts element in this book. There were some really pleasant surprises in terms of stories about these ghostly figures and what the twins are able to do together. I really love. There's a lovely little narrative conclusion in this to a thread about one of the ghosts that, when it happened, I was so happy. But Colin starts the narrative off with a bit of a problem. Homegirl's been away from Sweetwater Peak for donks, and right now, she can't hear these ghosts. And that's a massive bummer because the two twins differ very much in the way that Collins has always loved communicating with ghosts. It's been a massive part of who she is. As a kid, she would be off on her own, very much considering these ghosts her friends. She fully turns into her love of the paranormal, whereas her sister Clark very much tries to dial down the powers. She wants to live a normal life, and that's why it's so sad that Collins starts to realise she can't hear these ghosts anymore. In fact, it's such an important part of who she is that this entire book, this narrative, the main theme within it is the idea of trying to find out who you really are. This idea of searching, and thus, this real concept of longing is just imbued from this book from the beginning to the end. And I love the fact that this desire, this yearning is so much bigger than just the romance in this book. It imbues everything in the narrative, every character, every location. Every word on the page is just full of yearning. This book has a perfect title because not only is Collins yearning to reconnect and get her full spectrum of powers back and return to her full potential and who she's always been, but Brady, the love interest, he doesn't know what he's looking for. He just knows he's looking for something. And that idea of finding a place, a people, a purpose that fulfills you, God, it is brilliant. Like, we are going for big, heavy, sort of life level themes in this narrative, and the romance depicts that beautifully. I loved the dual POVs in this book, and I loved Brady. He's a grower, right? You ease into Brady, and what's so brilliant is you see Collins do the same. Like, the first time she meets him, she thinks he's boring, and you're like, no, this man has depth. He just needs the opportunity to grow and stretch, and for people to listen to him and really help him come out of his shell. He's a shy guy, and I love him. Collins is really outgoing and strong, but secretly very vulnerable. And I just think they were so similar in the ways that matter. And it was just brilliant to know that their similarities came on further examination. And so much of the book really leans into this, hidden depths. And I just think it's so brilliant, guys. It's so wonderful. I can't recommend this story enough. It was truly unique. And I think that's the main thing I want people to know about this book. I've never read anything like it before, and I'm hoping I get to read stuff like it since, I want more books in this series because it's amazing. Even the choice of the main character name, the fact that this FMC is called Collins and her twin sister's name is Clark, it makes sense within the narrative. It embodies how unique they are perfectly. They're unusual but not weird names. And I think that really suits everything about this book. It's unusual, but it isn't weird. I loved it. I actually absolutely loved it. I cannot wait for the next book. It is set up so brilliantly at the end of this. I'm so interested in Clark. I think Lyla Sage has done such a good job with Collins and Brady that I cannot wait for the next romance that's coming. I loved the cameos in this from characters we're already familiar with if you've read Lyla Sage's previous books. And I think the aesthetic, the narrative beats, the themes, it's all so unique. I can't sell this to you enough, guys. You need to read it. I need more people to read it and finish it. This book has only recently come out, and so my biggest bugbear is the fact that I've got no one else to talk to about it. I need everyone else to finish it right now. Because I'll be totally honest with you. I liked the Rebel Blue Ranch books, but I wouldn't say I came away from them going, God, that Lyla Sage. She is something else, right? I read the books, I liked them, and I liked them enough to say, well, anything else Lyla Sage writes, I'm gonna grab. But this has completely reframed how I view her as an author. She is capable of writing just absolute class. Yeah, I'll say it with my whole chest. Elsie Silver could not have written this. This is... The main word that comes to mind is unique. I think I have read a lot of books, okay? Like, I'm going to put my hands up and say, not only have I read a lot of books compared to the average person, I'll have read a lot of books compared to most content creators online, right? The fact that I can read a book this length, it's going to be about 350 pages, yeah, in about 2.5 hours, means that I can blitz through, okay? When it comes to books, I can do quantity, and my aim is always to come online and then recommend the quality, right? So I am a voracious reader. I will pat myself on the back and say, look, I doubt I'm going to meet that many people who've read more than me. Okay, especially when it comes to romance books, because that is my genre of preference. There will be some, there will be some Olympic level readers. I'm not going to call myself one of them, but I am going to say that when I turn around and tell you that I have never read a book that made me feel the way this made me feel, that was so successful in the things that it was clearly trying to do, I hope you hear that and you listen and you go, oh, okay. Right, this is one that Christy's really going to hold up and say, look, if you're going to read anything, read this. I can't believe that I have started off this reading challenge with something so amazing. Now I am a little bit worried about how the rest of the challenge is going to go, because I feel like everything I read after this, I'm going to be comparing to it. And I think almost every other book I've read is really going to struggle to hold up against this. This has reframed what I think about Lyla Sage. It has reframed what I think about this genre as a whole. And I even struggle to categorize this because it is a paranormal romance, but it has more of a magical realism aesthetic. So I almost hesitate, like, if it's going to be hard for me to compare it to other paranormal romances. Vampires, werewolves, and then there's this that just feels so earthy and grounded. I think I was going to say the visuals in this book, but that visual aesthetic as you're reading, it's giving Twilight. Bella, it's giving Twilight. It's giving big trees, dark, moody. Like, I wouldn't necessarily put that blue first Twilight film filter on it, but you kind of get that grey, dark vibe that really makes sort of sitting together in a candlelit room really cozy. When the power goes out in this book and they're together in this flat and she's lit a load of candles, I think the moodiness, the darkness, the aesthetic of the outside really invokes that concept of, I guess, Schadenfreude, where you're warmer inside because it's cold and dark and moody outside. It's got such a brilliant backdrop that's so dark and atmospheric that it allows every element to really pop and stand out. I'll tell you what, the cover design and this particular sprayed edge, I think aesthetically do a really good job of conveying what this book is like. Because you see, the cover is dark, but it's also not there warm. And the fact that the colour pops are orange, there's heat, but not burning, scalding heat, although the spice does deliver, let's not lie. It's more warmth. And the fact that it's cold and dark outside makes it warmer inside. There's so much of that to this book. I love it. I love everything about it. I think especially coming into this time of year where we're shifting autumn to winter, this book is perfect. There was not a better time of year for me to pick up this book and read it. And all I want to do is encourage everyone I know to read it as well, because I think it's so fantastic. I loved everything about it. It's getting 5 stars from me. Not a single note, not a single thing I would change. This is perfect. And I'm so happy. I'm so excited for the rest of this series now. You can now fully consider me a Lyla Sage stan. Anyone else around me who's going to go, oh, well, I feel like Lyla Sage is a bit like Elsie Self, I'm going to be like, no, okay, she is, but she isn't. Have you read Soul Searching? This is a game changer. Reframe how you think of her in your mind. She's a genius. She's amazing. She's her own person. And I just love when you let an author do something unique, truly creative. This book is creative. This book is pretty, I think it's perfect. I think it's phenomenal. So here we go. My read for day 1 of my Read a Book Everyday Challenge. It's either going to have set me up for success and we are just going to fly through the rest of October, or it's going to set such a high bar that I spend the next few days really in my feelings. So make sure you follow along. Please, if you've enjoyed my ramble and my rant about this book, give the video a cheeky like, give this account a follow, and I will post again tomorrow as I let you know my thoughts on the latest Emily McIntyre release, because that's what book 2 is going to be! Exciting times. Thank you for watching. I will see you later, alligators. Goodbye for now.